Welcome to another episode of Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two friends recap, review, giggle, and snark about a new romance novel each week. We're back for the final installment of Tiffany Reisz's Men at Work series, One Hot December. This one ticked so many of our boxes, with a Jewish hero, a badass, tough heroine, a hilarious little old lady, and all the frank conversations and red-hot sex we think a good relationship needs. Let's dive in. Okay, hi Erin.
Hello, Melody. How's it going over there?
I'm okay. How are you?
Pretty good. You're lying,
Okay.
though. You're not okay.
I'm sort of not okay. All right, let's just fess up, shall we? It's been a hard week for me, and for not really any specific life reason. Life is good. Life is the same as it has been for a while. Podcast is awesome. You know, I feel fulfilled in a lot of ways. The problem, however, is that we just had not even dramatic. We had a cold snap.
Oh.
Yeah, shut up, Alaskan. I can't with you.
How cold was it exactly, Melody?
Okay,
Was it,
you know what? I don't
20?
even...
Was it 10?
Oh my God. Okay, it's currently 46 degrees.
Oh, go fuck yourself. Oh my God.
But it's gonna get down to 30.
Oh my God. When you had said cold snap before, I assumed it was like 20 degrees. Go die. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. But like,
Oh my God,
and I was
Erin.
going to make fun of that. Like, that is what I was going to make fun of.
No, when you said 20 and then 10, I knew I had to be honest. Because, okay, here's the thing. I understand. The problem is that I am not a cold weather person at all. And when it happens, especially if it goes from like fairly warm to like all of a sudden, I suffer from some probably very mild seasonal affective disorder, but it's enough to wreak havoc on my daily life, in my humble opinion. Like, I don't know. So I know Michael thinks I'm insane all day today. Like, let me talk to you about what I'm wearing right now. Okay, it's 46
Is
degrees
it a
outside.
full winter coat? Because I can see a winter coat from here.
Almost. I'm just gonna go through the whole thing with you. I'm wearing compression socks, workout leggings, fleece pajama pants over that, full on boot slippers, a hoodie, a fairly lightweight hoodie, and then a complete fleece lined and down vest. And that is what I am wearing for 46 degree weather. Michael wants me to go to the doctor because he thinks something's wrong with my circulation or something.
I think something's wrong with your heater in your house. You know, listener,
no.
Melody lives in a house with walls and I don't understand. Are you
No, we also have space
some
heaters
kind of...
in each house in addition to gas heating. I'm a mess. And it's been a week where I haven't wanted to get out of bed at all. It's been a week where everything seems just a touch overwhelming. Whenever Ember needs something, especially early in the morning, I get irrationally angry, and then the only thing that gets me to be my regular mom self again is seeing him and then picking him up and smelling him and remembering that I biologically love him as well as emotionally love him. It's been a weird week, and I just have to say thank you ever so much for being such a badass friend, because you, I feel have been holding your tongue a lot this week in ways that were necessary for me, and I appreciate it.
What's funny is, I didn't know any of this until we sat down just now, but I sensed it. I could feel it. I could feel it in the text this week that something was up, because maybe Wednesday came and went and I didn't see a trailer go up on iTunes. I was I wonder if Melody is, you know what? We'll just let this be a trailerless week, because it seems like Melody just needs her space right now.
Oh, man. Yeah, sorry for the late trailer, listener.
Yeah. Like Derek Novak, I could sense that you were in trouble all the way from in Alaska. And again, I didn't do anything about it, but
That's right.
I could sense it.
I like it. Yeah, no, I don't. And like winter is coming. Actual winter is coming. Let's review. I may not live in Alaska, but I live in New Jersey.
Winter has been here since like October 10th.
You know what? I don't voluntarily live in Alaska. So
Bullshit voluntarily. The United States government said, Erin, you will go to Alaska.
You had a choice between upstate, like bumblefuck New York,
where it is colder than here.
Oh,
it is colder there than here.
There is more daylight, though, because that's the other problem. As soon as daylight savings, whatever, I hate. Can I just talk about my hatred for daylight savings? If I could see daylight savings time and the electoral college abolished in my lifetime, I would be a very happy person.
You know, we just lost a listener. Like, we had 5, and one just stopped listening because they were like an electoral college fan. They were like, well, I like romance novels, but they just got political.
You don't have to agree with me. You can still listen.
Can I ask you this? Do you have a lizard lamp? Are you laying under a lizard lamp for 20 minutes a day?
I don't have a lizard lamp.
You need one. They actually work. I know this. I'm an expert on 3 hours of daylight per day. And you need to be taking vitamin D. Are you taking vitamin D?
I am.
Are you taking it with a fat?
No.
You need to take it with a fat.
Wait, why?
Miss Lactose Intolerant. It doesn't absorb into your body unless you eat a fat with it.
Holy shit. I have no idea. Yeah.
Eat an almond or something.
I don't
know what fats you eat. All my fats are from cheese. Blocks and blocks of cheese.
I was going to say basically all of them, as long as they're not lactose based. Those are the fats I eat.
Yeah, I don't know any others.
I could take a swig of just olive oil. Gross.
Yeah, there you go.
I could have some hummus with it, some hummus.
Yeah, there you go.
Almonds are a great idea. All
yeah,
right, cool.
But you need to like contemporaneously be eating a fat when you take vitamin D.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
All right, so what's new with you, Erin? I'm wagging my eyebrows at Erin right now.
Can you tell?
I can.
How can you tell? It's so subtle. I got eyebrows tattooed onto my face. I got a face tattoo, like a badass this week.
Yeah, she has a face tattoo now. Okay, so here's the thing that you didn't know about Erin before now. She was born without eyebrows.
Yes. Or I guess everybody's born without eyebrows, but like, you know, whenever they were supposed to grow, it didn't happen.
Yeah, which I actually didn't notice at all in the beginning of our friendship. Probably because you were also wearing glasses full time, like dark glasses full time. But so yeah, in the past year?
Wait, let's just be clear, like dark rimmed glasses. Like I wasn't like walking around with transitions lenses or anything like that. Like I had dark rimmed glasses. I just want everybody to know.
That's true. She is not a transitions wearer. P.S. We just lost another listener.
No. Listen, you know what? Let her go. Let her go. It is 2017. Let her live her life. You know what? Or maybe somebody just found out like, oh, is it 2017 and I shouldn't be wearing transitions? Maybe we helped somebody out. Maybe we changed a life just now. Anyway, yeah, so I didn't have eyebrows before. Now I do. But they're like very dark. Like I have lightish hair. And now I have black eyebrows, and they won't heal for another like 2 weeks.
No, they're just healing, and they're not black. They're a really, really lovely shade of like light auburn. It's weird though. Like it's really good. They look amazing. But it is really interesting to not have to read your facial expressions from like the wrinkles that happen in your forehead.
Thank you.
That's what I have a lot of those too because we're very expressive people.
It's fine.
But like that's a lot of times how that would happen. Like, I would have to watch the overall like way that the shape of your face changed instead of just like getting the cues from the eyebrows. Anyway. Oh yeah. They look really good.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Thank you.
So the one thing I will say about this week is that I did not let anything get in the way of reading this book.
All right.
That's for fucking sure.
All right.
We have decided to be one trick ponies. No, that's not true.
We're not. We just like them.
We do. We decided just to finish up the Men at Work series because we wanted holiday books, and we knew that we would probably really like all of them.
Yeah, we knew that they were winners. Listen, we read Her Halloween Treat because I Googled Halloween romances, and there's not very many, and I saw the title Her Halloween Treat, and I thought, this is going to be terrible and ridiculous. And you know what? It wasn't. It turned out to be great. It's just a crazy title. And then when our Thanksgiving book fell through, I saw that she had a Thanksgiving one, and I was like, let's get on board. And here we are with the Christmas one. It just, Tiffany, sorry. We read all three.
You know what? Well, sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
I thoroughly enjoyed all of them, Miss Reisz. Thank you so much for your hard work and your dedication to our enjoyment. Okay, so can I just say that this is actually, I think, my favorite heroine of the three.
Really?
Yep, I think so.
I liked her the least, I think.
What? She's so badass.
I mean, yeah.
Maybe I just liked how badass she was.
I guess we'll get into it, but she made a lot of choices that I was just like, what are you? I don't know.
Oh, all right, let's get into it. So we've got One Hot December.
One Hot December. We've got our hero is Ian Asher, a man at work.
Yeah.
He is the heir to a construction company, but he hasn't always just been an executive. Well, he's like the boss at the place where our heroine works.
Yes, and he did airing right. I just verbed that, and I'm not going back. He worked his way up the ranks through a couple of different companies and learned. He hung drywall. He did some framing. He did all the things. And then at some point he took over to become the executive of this construction empire. Rah.
He wanted to do every job before he told other people to do those jobs. And that, my friends, is leadership. If you don't know what your subordinates are doing, you can't lead them. Good job, Ian Asher. Also, like you were talking about the names in these books, like just another kind of like, so our heroine is a welder at the construction company named Veronica, quote unquote, Flash Redding. Everyone calls her Flash because she's a welder.
Yeah.
And his name is Asher, like ashes, like they're fucking ashes. And, you know, kind of like in the Thanksgiving one where it was like clover fields and greens and some great names. And she's a welder. She's very small. She's got bright red hair that she's chopped short in kind of a punk way because otherwise it like fucks with her helmet. Gets caught in her helmet if it's too long. And she's got the nickname Flash because of Flashdance.
Which I thought was incredibly charming.
Yeah. And so I didn't get the 80s references in Her Halloween Treat, but I am all on board for Flashdance. Are you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And
what is it, Jennifer Beals? Jennifer Beals. Something like that.
That just
she was
doesn't...
in Flashdance. And I think that she was also in The L Word, which is my favorite lesbian.
It's definitely the same woman that's in Flashdance and the L Word. I'm just not super sure of her name. After we said Shayna Woody, I'm just a little bit wary of saying names on the podcast. Because that was like not even close. All right. Okay. So. Oh, yeah. And also the way that she saw Flashdance, she said that her mom wanted to show her like all her favorite movies growing up and she showed her Flashdance. That's how I saw Flashdance. Only I was like 10 or so, which too young for Flashdance.
Ooh.
By the way, it's probably why we're sitting here. And my dad, my father, right? Yeah, the look of horror, right? Was like, let's watch this movie, which he had already seen. So I don't know what he was thinking because he was like, there's a figure skater in it. And I grew up figure skating. And it's like 90% strippers. And there's like one scene with the figure skater where she's like trying out for some special competition or something, and she falls and dashes all her dreams, and then she has to be a stripper for the rest of her life. And I'm like, Dad, this is not... I don't know. Because I distinctly remember sitting there and, like, the heroine in Flashdance is, like, giving the main guy, like, a toe job under the table. Like, do you remember this?
No, I forgot about that.
She, like, goes to the restaurant, and she takes off... She's wearing this, like, sexy tuxedo menswear thing, and she takes off the jacket, and it's just a dickie. So it's, like, just barely covering her nips, and, like, everything else is out. And I'm just like, what's going on? Is that you can just wear, like, a bib for a shirt? Like, I don't understand. And then she starts, like, giving him a foot job under the table, and I was just like, what's going on? What's going on there?
That's incredible.
Yeah, thanks, Dad. In my dad's defense, he, like, gave it to me to watch. I don't think he actually sat there and watched it with me, or else I believe that we wouldn't have made it through some of these scenes. Just putting it out there for everybody. Man. So, the first scene, we've got Flash. She goes into Ian's office, and they're doing, like, some flirtiness, and
they're
she's
doing
like...
some hate flirting.
Yeah, but it's like... I hate you, but, like, I want to fuck you sort of flirting. Yeah. And they kind of allude to, like, that one night. So clearly they've had at one point some kind of one-night stand. And the way they are alluding to it in this conversation is, like, it was this meaningless sex, but it was, like, really good sex. And she's kind of, like, taunting him over it, would you say? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then she quits her job. And she's like, I'm walking out. I'm not your welder anymore. I'm going to go be an artist, and I'm going to go work for Clover Green. She's going to go work at the greenhouse with Clover and Ruthie, which is kind of fun.
If you recall, Clover was needing an assistant manager.
Yeah. And so she's going to go do that and then mostly concentrate on her art. And then Ian, in this moment... who's like this, like, he's like sexy suit guy, but he has kind of like longer hair than he should for a sexy suit guy. And that's all of my buttons. Like, I'm ready to go. Uh-huh. And he's like, oh no, she's quitting and she's going to like walk out of my life. So when I may
never see her again.
Right. So she's like walking out to the parking lot with her like box of shit or whatever. And he's all like,
and her hot brown leather jacket.
Oh, yeah. She's got, like, a cool truck. You're right. She is really cool. Like,
she's badass. Yeah.
Yeah, just objectively, like, from the outside on paper, Flash is the coolest heroine, for sure. Like, style-wise, job-wise, attitude-wise. Yeah. Definitely, for sure. But he, like, follows her out with her box of shit. And he's like, you know, I've got some welding I need done.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Flash, I bought a Swiss chalet fixer-upper on the mountain, and I was wondering if you could come and do some welding for me.
Yeah, and she doesn't take any of that shit. She's like, it's a chalet. Like, there's no such thing as a fixer-upper chalet. Like, that's not...
It's so good. And then we switch to his perspective, right? And then we learn that the night was not meaningless for him either.
Mm-hmm.
He was all about that night, and he hated having to break it off, I guess.
Right. So we learn kind of from both of their perspectives that this night was really, really meaningful. It was more than just like the best sex ever, that the tension had been kind of building at work and building, and they went out for some kind of work party, and then they just like attacked each other afterwards, and we're just like, nah, nah, nah. Like, that was a really sexy noise.
That was super sexy. I mean, Erin, you're just pushing all my buttons over here. Nom, nom, nom.
Well, okay, so like at the bar, they just were like on each other.
Yeah, they were eating
like,
each other's faces.
On each other on the way home. And like as soon as they got back, she's like giving him a blowjob against his door. Like it's just on. And that it had been like feelings wise, though, building for a long time for both of them. But neither of them really said that to the other one. And then right afterwards, he broke up with her.
Right.
Which, I mean, they keep calling this a breakup, but it's kind of like a non-starter. He was just kind of like, that's going to be a one-time thing, and I'm your superior, and we can't do this.
Sure. I mean, to be fair, she never says you broke up with me. She says you dumped me.
Right.
And I will allow it. I will allow it. So he's like, I need you to do some welding. Why don't you come up to my fixer-upper chalet now?
Right.
Do you want to ride with me? And she's like, no, I can drive my fucking self. I've got chains if I need it, like whatever. So they drive the 30 miles up to the chalet and walk in, and then he's trying to show her around and be hospitable and be friendly and joke, and she's just not having it.
Yeah.
At least not verbally.
Right, because she's pissed. She's pissed that he dumped her because she was all in. And he was like, no, that's a one-time thing. And he maybe used some wrong words when he was like, someone like me can't be with somebody like you. I'm your superior, that kind of thing. And she took that in a, you're a lowly welder sort of way. And
right, you're blue collar, I'm white collar. My dad's a state senator.
Which,
we obviously can't be together. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know if this is bougie of me, but like state senator was not something I wasn't like, woo. And maybe that's because I come from like a pretty podunk area where it's like the state senator is just like, Jim, like it's not like the state representative is not a big deal, but I don't know if Mount Hood, that's like a thing. I don't know. But they are like super rich.
Yeah, they're very, very rich, very successful business-wise.
Yeah, so he shows her it's a fireplace grate that he wants to have welded together that's broken, and it's made out of, it looks like it's ivy. And he kind of shares with her in this moment that his mother and his father broke up right after he was born, and then she died. And so he never got the chance to know his mother, and she's been kind of this mystery to him because his father won't talk about her and hasn't shared with him like who his grandparents are or anything like that. And it's been kind of this wall around his mom that his father won't tell him about. And she had, since she was kind of cool when she was a teenager, she rebelled and changed her name to Ivy. And so I think the fireplace grate kind of reminds him of her, and he wants it fixed.
And meanwhile, it's exactly in the style of the type of art that Flash creates. She likes to create organic looking pieces out of metal.
She does flowers mostly.
Yeah, she does a lot of flowers and vines and things like that. So her response is, this is a work of art and an artist should fix it. I would love to fix it. But they also learn more about his mom, because does he volunteer that she was Jewish, or does because he was explaining why they broke up. He was like, my dad's family is very Catholic, her family was Jewish. And so the families hated everything about their being together, and they really allowed that to sort of pull them apart.
Right.
And so Flash then realizes that she was like, oh, so you're Jewish. And he's like, what? Not realizing that it's a matrilineal legacy. So he's like, wow, I didn't know that about myself. I just learned that about myself.
And she's like making fun of him. She's like, oh, do you suddenly have a bagel craving? Like these kind of like Jewish stereotypes. It's kind of cute.
Do you suddenly hate me for asking if you have a bagel craving?
Right, yeah. Do you have one, and do you hate me for that joke? It was good. And then he kind of tells her that he wants to be friends with her, and maybe they could just kind of like hang out as friends after and he's kind of trying to find an avenue to be your boyfriend, but he doesn't want to kind of out with it. So he's like, do you want to maybe start a friendship? And she's like, God, no, fuck this guy. Like, I do not want to be friends with him. Like, clearly, like, she has this great line about, like, there's nothing worse than being friends with somebody who you're in love with.
You have feelings for. Yeah. You have strong feelings for.
Yeah, it's like either you're hurt all the time because you want something more, or you're using that person to try to get something more, and that's either it's hurting you or it's hurting them. It's like there's no way around it. So
Well, and can I just say that this was actually this spoke to me, because I cannot tell you how many friends, as well as myself, like after a breakup, have been like, no, I don't want to be friends. I have really incredible friends. Don't need more friends. don't particularly see you as a good friend candidate. So we're either going to bone a lot or we're no longer going to speak. Like that. Mm-hmm. There's not really an in-between a lot of times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he's crushed.
Yeah. So yeah, she says, I don't want to be your friend. And then he's like, okay, well, you know, that he starts to talk about like paying her to do the work on the grate. And she's kind of like, oh, well, maybe, you can pay me with sex. Because like she'd really like to be in a relationship with him, but she at the least would really like to have sex with him again. So she's like, yes. All right, let's do a barter system where we have sex X number of times for hours worked on the grate. Yeah. And this really offends him because he's like, no, I don't just want to have sex with you. Like, what are you just using me for my body? They're like, this is bullshit. So she kind of storms out a little bit. She gives him a business card of somebody who he can call to do the work on the grate, and he give him a good price if he like drops her name, and she kind of storms out of there.
Yeah, so this role reversal really tickled me, actually. You know, because the stereotype is the guy always wants sex, the woman wants the relationship, like blah, 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 blah. And it's a little bit different here because they both want a relationship but don't know how to make themselves vulnerable enough to say that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. So this is sort of a mini tangent. The other day, I was thinking about the phrase, feminism is the radical notion that women are people. And it's a multi-layered phrase, right? Because, you know, women aren't just objects, women are blah, 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 blah. But one thing that I think is really overlooked a lot of times is like women are sexual beings. Like people are sexual beings and therefore women are too. And like, yeah, I don't see why she wouldn't want to have really, really, really great sex. Mm-hmm. Like have like a friends with benefits kind of situation with this guy. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I just really enjoyed it.
Okay. So she storms out. She gives him the card. So then she's driving home and she's like trying not to cry because she wants to be his girlfriend and she just totally ruined it and she's probably never going to see him again. And she goes home and that's when we meet Mrs. Scheinberg. Did you like her as much as I did?
Of course I did. There is nothing I love more than an excellent side character unless it's a geriatric excellent side character. Oh my God. I love little old ladies so much. She was such a good one.
All right. So we've got Kira from Her Halloween Treat.
Oh, shit.
We've got Ruthie from Her Naughty Holiday. And we've got Mrs. Scheinberg from Her Hot December.
Don't Sophie's Choice me.
Yeah, I want to know because side characters are kind of your thing.
Fuck, man. You want me to rank them?
Well, yeah, that was my idea, but now I'm kind of thinking fuck, marry, kill. But no, go ahead and rank them.
Fuck, marry, kill could be good. Okay, we're going to go with fuck, marry, kill.
Oh, God. You're going to fuck Kira. You're going to
fuck Kira.
Poor Ruthie.
I'm going to fuck Kira so hard.
Poor Ruthie.
You know what? I can't fuck Ruthie. She is underage.
She's underage. You can't do it.
Sorry, Ruthie. You know what? I'm gonna marry Ruthie because she's got a ton of potential. You know what? Mrs. Scheinberg has had a really fucking good life. She has. If she looked at both Ruthie and Kira, she would be like, "It's my time."
She would.
These women need to flourish and bloom. So you're gonna have to kill me. Yep.
If I ranked them, though, I think I liked Ruthie the best because as a pagan, it spoke to me. And
I hear that. I just think that we didn't get enough Ruthie in the second one.
That's true. She was absent but what we got was
she was
good.
Absent for. It was really good. Yeah. The fact that she just casually tossed around the word goddess really just hits me where I live. Yeah, which is also why I'm marrying her. So,
all right, okay. So Mrs.
Get
Scheinberg.
ready, child bride Ruthie.
Are you gonna wait for her to come of age?
You know what? I don't know. It's
Oh no.
It's isn't it en vogue to attempt to marry? Well, 16 is legal in some states, I'm sure. No, of course I'm going to wait for her to come of age.
I can't believe we're in this conversation. I'm sorry, I led us here. All right.
Oh, what times we live in.
Flash is bringing Miss Scheinberg some Christmas cookies.
Yes.
Which she has to smuggle without her son knowing.
Illicit Christmas cookies, which is the best kind, frankly.
Because Mrs. Scheinberg is Jewish. Her son does not allow her. Her son, who just sounds fucking awful, does not allow her to eat Christmas cookies because he feels like she's being a bad Jew. So Flash has to bring them to her, and then she has to hide them. So they eat Christmas cookies together, and they talk about Ian, and like clearly, so they're best friends, which I love it.
They're so cute. Everything about them is so cute.
Yeah, Flash has already told her about Ian, and they talk about it. And basically, Mrs. Scheinberg is like, you're an idiot. You shouldn't have stormed out of there. You should have taken his friendship. Why are you... She even tells her about the sex barter, and she's like, you wicked woman. Like,
I love it.
Yeah, and then Miss Scheinberg talks about how she's already Googled Ian and that he's handsome. Let me see here. Oh, here's what Miss Scheinberg says. Oh, and we didn't say. So she was a riveter in World War II.
Yes.
And she's just a fantastic character. There was some other like really cool fact about her, and I don't remember what it was.
She was a she was a riveter in World War II. Well, she's still to this day incredibly stylish.
Oh, that's what it is.
She always has her makeup fully done. She gets her hair done weekly. You know, nails are always polished. She's like the 1940s pinup even to this day, as much as she possibly can be.
All right, so she says about Ian, I Googled him. Handsome, very handsome, nice face, nice hair, and nice eyes. Big shoulders, good, strong neck. I loved Dr. Scheinberg's neck. I liked to nibble it at stoplights in the car. He'd drive home a little faster when I did. Then Flash yells, Mrs. Scheinberg. She waved her hand, poo-pooing Flash's shock. Don't be silly. We were married. Sex between a husband and a wife is a mitzvah. And oh, it was a mitzvah with him.
Oh, it was a mitzvah with Dr. Scheinberg. Oh.
I just loved it. I love how sex positive she is. So then they talk about how maybe Flash should do a mitzvah for Ian because she was so mean to him.
Which is a blessing.
Right.
A mitzvah is a blessing or like a good thing, a good deed. And so then she helps her get out and polish her menorah because it's about to be Hanukkah, I think the next day. Yes. And Flash starts asking her questions about the menorah, and she's like, you know, are there any rules about it? Like, can you just like get one for a person or what? And she says it just needs to be well made and I think given with love or something like that. And so Flash gets a really nice idea.
That she's gonna weld him up a menorah because she just found out he's Jewish. And so she goes home and does this, and she makes it out of, like, she does ivy in the shape of a menorah to honor his mother, which is where he gets his Jewishness from. And then she decides she's gonna bring it to him, which this is where I lost Flash a little bit.
Did you?
Yes.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I was so cold this week, I would have broken and entered somewhere. Yeah? Had the choice been break and enter or wait outside, I would have done it.
She has a car. I mean, it's not like she walked up for... So what happens is she goes to his house and it's cold outside, so she ends up just kind of like breaking in to give him this menorah. But like, the woman has a car. Like, just sit in your car.
It was a little weird. But I think it also speaks to how comfortable they are with each other and how I'm grasping at straws.
Yeah.
It was a weird thing
little
to
rough.
do.
So she breaks in and he's in the shower. So she decides to sit in an armchair and face away from the bathroom in case he comes out in the buff.
In his room. Like, didn't wait in the living room.
No.
No common areas for Flash.
No.
Flash is going straight to the boudoir.
Right. So she waits for him there. He's a little bit weirded out that she's broken into his house. So he keeps being like, why are you here? And I don't know if she's nervous or just weird. She keeps like not telling him for a long time. And I don't know why. And it comes off as like, honestly, I listened to this the first time through, and then I went back and read it because I felt like I'd missed some things. So when I listened to this conversation where he keeps being like, why are you here? And she keeps being like, just like deflecting the conversation, listening to it, I was just like, bitch, get out of his house. Like, you are fucking weird. Like, listening to the conversation, I was like, this woman is off the chains crazy. Reading it, it was a little bit cuter.
Yeah, because I read it only, and I did not get weirded out as much as that at all, or really at all.
If you listen to it, it's a lot stranger, I think, of her. So yeah, she eventually is like, I wanted to give you a gift. So she just kind of shoves it at him and walks away. And he's like, are you gonna like wait and watch me open it? And she's like, are you into that? I was like,
it's really cute.
And he's like, yeah. And then, he opens it and he likes it. And they light the menorah together. Like, she shows him how to light the menorah with like the big candle. I don't remember the name of the big candle.
Yeah, they Google it.
Yeah, they Google it and they do it. So then they start talking about like feelings.
Yeah, and what happened.
Their breakup. And basically what happened was so when they made out in the bar, another one of the employees from the company saw them making out in the bar, took some pictures of them leaving together. And this was a guy that had hit on Flash before, and she kind of like rebuffed his advances. And he basically threatened to blackmail Ian and his dad.
His state senator
father. It's just not that big of a deal. Like, I just feel like, anyway, whatever. He tried to blackmail them, and then he kind of had no choice. He called the company lawyer and was like, what do I do here? And the company lawyer was like, there's really no choice here. You gotta break it off with her.
Or fire her.
Because they described this several times as Flash had played some minor pranks on people in the company. However, the pranks themselves are very clearly, to me, fireable offenses. There's a lot of destruction of company property. One of them is like she welds all their lockers shut. Like, that seems like a very difficult thing to fix. Mm-hmm. You'd have to buy all new lockers. Like, that's thousands of dollars and have them installed. Like, this is not little shit. Like, she probably should have been fired. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So basically that was it. And he didn't want to fire her, so he had to break up with her. And she's a little miffed because she thinks he could have handled it better, i.e.
like,
telling her
what was going on. Yeah, because in her brain, she's like, I would have quit my job. That's how important you were to me. Like, easy. That would have been an easy decision. I would have quit my job and had more time for my art and, the whole thing.
Right. But he didn't, and now they're here. So after she kind of like, understands it a little bit more, and also he used some shitty words when... What are you doing? I'm sorry.
I'm just pushing things down, is all.
Melody has taken the whole collar of her winter coat and rolled it into itself. Just take off the coat, Mel. Like,
no, I'm not taking it off.
Okay.
There's no fucking way this is coming off.
So anyway, so once she understands a little more why when he said, I'm your superior, somebody like me can't be with somebody like you, what she heard was, you're shitty and I'm better than you, but he meant, I'm your boss, this isn't okay, like, I clearly have a lot of power over you and I shouldn't be with somebody who I can fire, which is completely true. Don't sleep with your boss.
So totally true.
This happened to a good friend of mine. She started sleeping with her boss, and it was real bad. Like, he started being emotionally abusive toward her. It was awful. And then she couldn't do anything about it. He basically started stalking her, and it's like she couldn't do anything because if she told anybody, she would be fired. So don't do that. God. Don't sleep with your boss. Okay. Ugh. So then she kind of talks about her childhood, her mom and her, she didn't have a dad, her mom and her moved around a lot. That's why she's, I guess, so weird and breaks into people's houses and can't have straight conversations with people. That's how I took it. So then they decide they're going to forgive each other and they're going to be together.
Well, kinda. They decide to go to Pound Town. Mm-hmm. And then, like, they decide later.
Right. Well, that's what I meant. Like, be together sexually.
Oh, yeah.
He kind of does admit here, I have feelings for you, but I will have sex with you if that's all you want, just sex. And she doesn't really say I have feelings for you, too. She's just kind of like, yeah, that's good. Well, they both say, definitely sex never mind. They do say, I have strong feelings for you, but they're just going to have sex for now. And he says, I have strong feelings for you. And she's like, what kind? Anger, fear, that kind of stuff. And he says, attraction, fascination, adoration, affection, erection. She's like, is erection an emotion? He says, it's definitely a feeling. Which I really liked.
Well, and this is when we learn that they bring out the best in each other.
Oh, yeah.
Because apparently when they first got together, they were in the elevator up to his house, and she was like, let's play a game. You tell me exactly what you want me to do, and I do it. And he was like, this is an interesting game. Like, how like, who wins? And she goes, that's the best thing about this game. As long as both of us play, we both win. Because she's really into being submissive, and he learns in this encounter that he really likes being dominant and being in charge. And so actually, I really, really liked this sex scene, especially since there was no kissing.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a little odd for me, but I really liked it because of that.
I was just like, I'm sitting on my plane, which I think only one of these books has not been read on a plane. Nice. But they're deciding they're in Sexy Town now. She's sitting on the floor. He's sitting on the bed when they're having this kind of deep conversation about their families and stuff. And so now she knows it's kind of like her move, because he's been like, yeah, I want to be with you. So now she's got to do something. And it says, she started to stand, and Ian shook his head. You know better than that, he said. And Flash lowered herself to the floor. And I was like, oh, it's on. I didn't realize that this was going to be this kind of book, but it's clearly on.
I like it. And so then she crawls over to him.
Yeah. And gives him the blowjob of his life. It was great.
She is quite skilled.
She's quite skilled at giving blowjobs. A lot of times romance novels don't include long blowjob sequences.
I like that a lot.
I do too. So
I also liked that. I think I'm right here that in this scene, she did not climax from penetration, right?
Oh, I didn't notice.
And then I think at some point in this book, she does not climax during penetration. And so he has her flip over and he goes down on her until she climaxes. And this is after he's totally done. This is after, like, traditional heteronormative men would be like, well, I have ejaculated, so sex is adjourned now. That is not how it happened. And I really, really liked that, because let's review. Sex is not just penis and vagina. We should all look at sex to be everything that leads up to it, and all of the things that can happen other than penis and vagina. Ugh.
Yeah, and I really like that she likes things that usually in a traditional romance novel women are not super into. Like, she really likes him ejaculating on her back, which I feel like is something that is usually not something women are like, ooh la la.
Right, totally.
Especially in the Harlequin romance novel. This one's a Harlequin, right? Yeah. They're all Harlequin Blaze. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I super dug all of it.
Yeah, I dug this whole sex scene except for one detail. Black sheets. What are you doing, man? Like,
you can see everything. I thought the same thing. Every drool pool, every particularly sweaty night, like every puddle of every other kind that happens when one is a human sleeping on sheets. Black sheets are a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Just awful.
If you go home with a man and he has black sheets and they're perfectly clean, you're like, shit, this Duke is a virgin. If they're not perfectly clean, it's like, gross. I can see all the stuff. Like, there's no winning with black sheets. Anyway, just wanted to put that out there.
So then she goes home because he wants
she
her to
doesn't
stay
want
over,
to stay.
but she's like, it's too soon. I would just fall head over heels in love, and I can't get my hopes up like that. So bye.
Yeah, so she goes home.
And she goes and visits Mrs. Scheinberg.
She can't sleep because she's old. That's right. Like, I'm awake. She's like, what's wrong? And she's like, I'm old. That's why I can't sleep. I just loved it. Let's see. What did they talk about this time? Crap. Oh, I know what. So basically, Mrs. Scheinberg when she goes home and she talks to Mrs. Scheinberg's like, stop playing games with him. If you love him, you got to tell him. If you want to be his girlfriend, you got to tell him, that kind of thing. So she's like right to the point, ready to go. And then the next thing is they go on a date, right? They go on the dinner date to the bar?
Yeah, so she shows up at his house again, and they have more sexy times, right? And then he's like, well, so now what? Like round 2? And she goes, well, I was promised pub food at a brewery, so that's what I would like to do. And they go out, and this is where like he starts feeling really good about just like them being out in the world together. And is this where she's a little insecure about it? Or
yeah, she starts thinking like, okay, we're at this pub. He's wearing jeans and like I don't remember what he's wearing, but he's probably wearing a Henley shirt because that's what
like
they all wear.
Yeah, no, it's a black shirt. It's a black long sleeve shirt.
Oh, is it a tight long sleeve black shirt? Oh,
yeah, it's super hot.
I don't know. I'm imagining a waffle Henley. Anyway, so they're eating or whatever. And she's like, this is okay. Like, he's kind of like, looks a little rough and I look a little rough. We're just chilling at a bar. Like, we could be together even though he's like a multimillionaire. Like, it's okay. And he's thinking the same thing. Like, we're just two people out at a bar. And then it's kind of later that they start talking about maybe her insecurities over that. I have a question about this pub scene. What is Portland ketchup?
I forgot to Google it because I don't actually know.
You don't know? You grew up there.
No, I grew up in Southern Oregon. There is a big difference.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know. Okay, so she tells him that she wants him to be her art muse, and she wants to like make some art inspired by him. So she leaves again. The next morning, his dad comes over.
He asked her to do something based on his mother.
Right.
He wants something that is, he can sort of remember her by. And in that moment in the book, I was like, is the menorah not enough? But okay, sure. All's well that ends well. But I was like, listen, you needy fuck. You got a beautiful ivy-laden menorah, and that's not going to remind you of your mother? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, also at that dinner, she has 2 beers, and he's like, you want a third? And she's like, no, I have to have sex later. Like, if I'm having sex later, choose my limit. And I am on board for that. I don't know.
I'm so on board for that.
She's only like 23 or whatever, but I've hit 31, and more than 2 beers, like, I'm going to be asleep. All right, so then the next morning, his dad comes over, wants to go skiing. They have a conversation about how, like, maybe this isn't the type of girl that is going to be good for him. And his dad handles it, I think, actually pretty good. Like, it's
I do too.
It's
his
not
dad
the
is
worst.
not offensive at all.
No, he's just kind of concerned, like, hey, man,
I mean, other than the fact that he's, like, a 50s, very white, very privileged man. Like, he definitely comes from that perspective, but his relationship with his former wife and the mother of Ian really helps him come around quickly on the idea of Flash and Ian.
Well, and it's also what hampers his opinion of their relationship, too.
That's
is
true.
He knows
That's
that
true.
it was really, really difficult for his ex-wife to deal with because she came from, like, kind of a lower-class situation and a different religious thing. And, he just kind of wants him to go into this with his eyes open, really. Mm-hmm. So then it's that night that they get into the hot tub because Ian goes skiing all day and he's very sore. And so they get into the hot tub.
And What's-Her-Nuts has been welding all day on this new project that she was super inspired by. And so she's also really sore. And so they get into the hot tub and it's a really great scene. Where they just hash out all of their insecurities and issues. They get real honest about what they want from each other and what they want out of the future. It's...
Are you laughing at my sneeze?
Yeah, it was really cute. It's really honest. It's really light. It's really forthright. It's really sexy. It's a great, great scene of just like putting your cards on the table and hoping the other person will be on the same page. And actually, I also really liked later on the way that they framed going condomless. Because up until this point, they've been using condoms. And he asks her if he can penetrate her without one on. And she is really confused by that. She's like, I don't really know like what the point, I guess, would be. And he says, I want absolutely nothing to be in between us in every facet of our relationship. And to me, it is a signal that we are really, really serious, and that we're totally monogamous, and that we're, you know, in it for the long haul kind of thing. And I mean, I guess if you're gonna ask to go without a condom on romp number 3, that's a good way to frame it.
I mean, they do talk about how they both got tested.
They do.
Right after the first time that they had sex, because they did had, well, I don't know if they wore condoms the first time. I assume so, but they had both recently been tested and blah, 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 blah.
Although, quick break here, quick sexual health tip break.
Jeez. Melody.
You should not only get tested right after an encounter, you should also wait 6 weeks, because that's the incubation period for a lot of diseases, including but not limited to HIV. So getting tested right after your sexual encounter and then not for the next 6 months is actually not very helpful. But I like that their heads were in the right place. Also, everybody should be getting tested every 6 months, no matter if you're monogamous or not. Okay, thanks.
Sure. No, you should. Do it.
You fucking should.
Do it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say sure in such a snarky way. I was more saying sure about your, like, after school special interlude.
I can't help it.
I know you can't. I know.
I was a sexual health educator, and it is a reaction that, and frankly, not enough people talk about that shit. So here we go, everyone.
All right. Okay. So also during this time, we get like a little flashback to the first time they met, which is my favorite, where
Super cute.
Goes up to everybody. When he takes over the company, he goes up to everybody and meets everyone individually. And so he goes up to her and says, so you're the famous Flash Redding. Dad calls you the lady welder. Nice to finally put face.
Dad calls you his lady welder.
Oh, his lady welder. Nice
which
to finally...
was a little weird to me.
Yeah, whatever.
But that's fine.
Put a face with a legend. And it says she'd been so flustered by his handsome face, his bright and genuine smile, his height and the width of his shoulders, that his perfectly tailored suit accentuated so well that when she finally opened her mouth to speak, well, it wasn't good. Lady Welder is my porn name, she said in reply. Her very first sentence of greeting to the new boss, and it was a stupid, dirty joke. She braced herself to get fired on the spot, or at least sent to HR for a talking to, of all the stupid, crass things to say. Weird, Ian had said. Lady Welder is my porn name, too. One of us is going to have to change our name, and our fans are going to be very confused and disappointed. So I thought that was...
It's so cute.
Very cute. Okay,
so they decide to be together sort of for evsies.
Yeah, they're girlfriend, boyfriend. They love each other after the hot tub.
They haven't said that yet. But...
They don't.
Oh, no. She says.
Yeah.
She says that she loves him. And she was like, you're right. I don't want anything between us. So I should just let you know I'm totally in love with you. You don't have to say anything in return. You just need to know that that's where I'm at. I'm in love with you. So why don't you...
Because Mrs. Scheinberg told her to.
Yes.
Best friends. Then they have after hot tub sex. And is this the night she takes him on the hike? I think she does.
Yes.
This night.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry. I promised you I was going to have a handle on this plot. Like, clearly. I'm sorry. Clearly I don't.
No, I think it is the same night. This is a very whirlwind romance.
But
because earlier she was like, I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to go on like long walks with you in the fucking wilderness. I don't want to do all these things.
Hold your hand in the winter wonderland of Oregon.
That's right. Yeah.
So she takes him out on a little night hike and holds his hand, and they go look at the moon and the snow in the night. And this is where he says that she should move in with him.
Yes. He's like, I am so into this, and I really want you to move in with him. And I love this about Flash. She goes, oh, I can't. Because you know what? I wouldn't be able to afford half of the rent on this place if we were renting it. So I can't move in with you. And on the one hand, I know.
Here's the thing. Yay for Flash or whatever. But here's another part where Flash kind of lost me a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I feel like either you're comfortable dating a multimillionaire or you're not. You know, like you're not going to be able to go halvesies on everything with this guy.
Right.
And if he's asking you to move in and offering you to move in, you don't have to necessarily pay half the rent to be able
Right.
to do that and be able to respect yourself. Like, you can move in with him and still keep your financial integrity and not let him buy you every Lamborghini in the world, or, you know, basically don't let him 50 Shades of Grey you. But, like, she can still live there rent-free and maintain her integrity as long as she has enough money to leave herself if she needs to.
Yes. Either that, or she could have offered to pay him the same amount of rent that she's paying at her current apartment.
Sure.
Because, you know, that would be fine. Like, wanting to be a, you know, productive member of the partnership, or, you know, not everything has to be 50-50 for it to be equal.
Right.
And
because she's not going to get there. She's a welder/artist. Like, it's never going to happen. You can't restrict yourself to only dating people in your financial bracket, you know.
Unless you just do that.
Yeah, unless that is.
She's not doing that.
Right, right. It's like either she's cool with it or she's not. She can't be like cool with it, but also this. That's how I kind of felt about the whole thing.
I also read it as kind of a way for her to pump the brakes a tiny bit, even though she doesn't want to. Because her whole thing is, once a piece of my art sells, then I can move in with you, because, you know, the profits would be able to keep me in half the mortgage for like a year.
Right.
And that's another thing that kind of threw me a little bit, because if you are going to take that tack, you should probably be asking about specific numbers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you can't ballpark the mortgage on a Swiss fucking chalet. You don't know what the down payment was. Like, I don't want to get into it. But, like, I liked the idea, but the fact that she was being so specific without being specific at all was also a little weird for me. But that's fine.
Yeah, I agree with that. So her art sells like for $20,000 a sculpture, I guess. Yeah. So she's going to wait until her sculpture sells of his mother or any of her other sculptures that are up at the gallery before she moves in with him. And he says this is okay, but at the same time starts doing this bullshit where he's like, move in with me anyway. Like, I've accepted your terms, but still, like, don't you want to move in with me? Which is bullshit. And if the next thing that happens hadn't happened, I would have been like, this guy's manipulative. I would have been on board for walking away from this guy, because you either accept her terms or you don't. You don't keep poking at her and saying, hey, if you really love me, you'd move in with me, because that's manipulative and that's bullshit. But he does it probably 5 times before her art sells. It's a little rough. Okay.
I don't know. I just saw him as like this over exuberant puppy every time he did it. And so I forgave him a little bit more than I think I normally would. But yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he's an enthusiastic puppy, but like, so was the guy in Her Halloween Treat who was like, you know, I'm in love with you and I want you to stay in Oregon. And it's still manipulative. Like, if she says, I don't want to move in with you until my art sells, you just got to take that. You can't keep poking her about it. Here's the thing. She does this night. The next time they see each other, her art sells. And he manages to be like, you sure? You sure? You sure? You sure? Like 5 times in between, which is not okay. So they send each other some sexy texts after that night. And so he's like real excited to do some bondage stuff with her, because I think she's mentioned something like that. So he decides to go over.
At one point she asked if he had handcuffs in his side drawer.
Right.
And he was like, should I? And she was like, well, I'm just thinking of Hanukkah gifts. And then this time they talk about going up to the same hotel that Joey and Chris had sex at. And she talks about him tying her up to the bed. And so he's like, ooh, this is amazing. Let's do things like that.
All right. So she sent him some like tie me up sort of things. And so he goes over to her house and brings her some flowers, and he's ready to like go to Pound Town. And then Ms. Scheinberg is there and she needs a light bulb switched. So she spends some time with him.
And it's really cute because they meet for the first time, and you know, Ms. Scheinberg sort of gives her seal of approval on.
Yeah, it's nice. Oh, so there's a big Christmas party coming up. There had been another office party that was very fancy that Flash tried to go to in a vintage Givenchy gown that Mrs. Scheinberg had worn in like, I don't know, the 50s. With like gloves and her hair all done up, and she was basically asked to leave this party Pretty Woman style, where it was like only ladies need be at this party. Go back to your pole. And she was like, I work here. I work at the construction company. And they were like, go fuck off. Because she's got, like, pinup girl tattoos all over her, and she was in a really sexy dress, pretty dress, but she didn't look the type.
Quote unquote classy enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
now they're looking forward to the Asher
Christmas party,
which P.S. sounds like another one of my actual nightmares where like white people with too much money get dressed up in tuxedos and high heels for no fucking reason.
It's what I live for.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was like, ooh, a fancy Christmas party at the end of this. No. Can't wait. So she's going to wear her sexy red dress again. And then Ian decides he's going to buy this dress for thousands of dollars off of Mrs. Scheinberg to give to Flash so that she can have this red dress.
As a Christmas present. Oh.
So Mrs. Scheinberg sees Flash and she's like, hey, by the way, he's going to buy you something for Christmas and you should accept it.
Well, this is after Mrs. Scheinberg goes up and checks on them because they have been having such good sex.
Right.
That she's worried that somebody might be also getting murdered a tiny bit.
Right. Okay, so... Also, when they had the conversation about her saying she had to sell some of her art, she also said, hey, Ian, you can't, like, cheat the system here and just buy some of my art. Like, that's not in the equation here. Like, I have to actually sell it because otherwise you're just buying me off, and that's like, the thing that I don't want. So,
yeah, and if you do, I will leave you and I will never see you again.
Yeah. So they have some great bondage sex in her apartment where he ties her to the bed, even though she doesn't have a headboard, so he has to tie her to the bed, like, feet. Bed feet? Is that a thing?
No. Yeah, the legs of the bed.
Legs!
And, close. Just a little bit north. But they also do some really sexy construction talk about putting brackets in above her bed. Yes. And I was there for it.
It was all about it. It was so funny. He was talking about putting brackets in so that he would be able to tie her to the bed, even though she didn't have a headboard. And she said that it would damage her drywall. And then he's like, well, what I could do is put some 2x4s on there. Like, it was just great. And they were like, oh, yeah, the way to do that, it was just spot on.
It was sexy
good
construction
stuff.
talk.
Yeah, it was good.
I was into it. And then we basically fast forward. Oh, well, and then she gets a call that one of the pieces of her art has sold. And she's so excited. And he's like, wait, but are you sure? Because this doesn't mean that you have to move in with me. I know that you said that, but if you've changed your mind, like, that's okay too. And she's like, no, we're doing it. Let's do the thing. It's great. And then I guess we fast forward to the Christmas party, right?
Yeah, I think so.
She gets all dressed up and meets him there because he's got setup work to do for his dad.
Mrs. Scheinberg does her hair and makeup all in like
so cute
pinup
like
girl style. Glam. Yeah.
So good.
And his family's really cool to her. Like
he also threatened them within an inch of their lives before she got there because he was like, she's the one. I am into it, and you will behave yourselves, and you will make her feel like part of the family. And I think that would have happened anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have a really lovely time at the party. And then while his dad is giving a speech about going to like running for the U.S. Congress, he's like, "Hey, go upstairs because I'll tell you about the Christmas gift that I got for you. Like, go into my bedroom."
His childhood bedroom.
Yes.
And they're gonna bone up there too.
Oh yeah.
Additionally.
It's on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
And so she goes up, she sneaks up and walks into his bedroom and is confronted with the sculpture that she did, which was inspired by his mother.
And she is pissed, rightfully so, because she believes that he has bought her the sculpture for Christmas. And this means she has enough money to move in with him. And she explicitly told him, do not do this. This is manipulative. And here it is. And he's bought it for her. And I was very angry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no. And she just fucks off. She's like, I'm not saying goodbye.
Well, I'm never going to see him again.
I'm just never, ever going to be in the same room with him again.
And that was the right decision.
It was. It absolutely was. She told him, this is my line in the sand. And she believed that he had trampled all over it.
Right.
So she gets in her truck and drives away. He then goes up to follow her up to the, and, go to Pound Town up in his childhood bedroom because he's never done that before. Walks in, sees the sculpture, and is like, it sort of doesn't know what to do with himself. Then he's
never seen it before.
Yeah, he'd never seen it. So then his dad comes up right behind him and he's like, hey, I was going to surprise you and Flash with this later, but I was, you told me to go check out Flash's artwork. I was incredibly impressed. This moved me to tears. Like I needed to leave the room because it's this gorgeous female silhouette done in ivy vines. And then on a leaf right where the heart would be, it says Ian on it. And later on, can I just tell you, this book hit me in my sexy place. It hit me in my like feminist place, and then it hit me in my mommy place.
Oh no.
Because in their later conversation where he says, my dad saw my name on the leaf in the heart, she goes, well, I figured that was appropriate since I know that your name was written on her heart. And I'm crying right now. I actually cried mommy tears.
You had a week, huh?
At that. Yes.
Oh, Mel.
So, yeah.
So
anyway,
actually,
I'm getting ahead of us, though.
Yeah, his dad purchased it because he wanted to keep that sculpture in the family because he loved his mom so much. And then you need to get it together, Mel.
I'm telling you, Tales of Family Redemption just hit me in all the places.
Clearly. It's something I learned about you on this podcast journey.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. Something Michael always makes fun of me about is like when something happens with kids on shows, or like if a particularly personified like cartoon animal does something that's similar to my son, I'll just sit there and go, oh, Ember. Michael's like, get your shit together. This is ridiculous. Anyway.
We all have buttons. I cried at the end of 13 going on 30. It was very embarrassing. Oh. Everybody has a button.
It's true.
Mine is time travel. No,
I'm not going to mock you for your button.
Anyway, so he bought it. He wanted to keep it in the family because he actually loved his mother very much. And he talks to him now about his grandparents on that side and stuff. It's very beautiful. It's great. Mm-hmm. So then he goes to Mrs. Scheinberg and says, okay,
because he realizes like it clicks in his brain and he's like, if she's not here, oh, fuck.
She thinks I bought
told her. Yeah. So He goes to Mrs. Scheinberg's because he bangs on her door and she's not there. Goes down to Mrs. Scheinberg's house and he's like, where is she? And she's like, did somebody fuck with my girl at another one of your fancy schmancy Christmas parties? And he's like, no.
Oh, and Mrs. Scheinberg also told him at some point that she's going to move in with her son. So don't worry if Veronica Flash Redding moves in with Ian, Scheinberg's going to be fine. Just
even if I don't
primary
kill
worry
her,
of mine. Yeah,
she's gonna go.
There isn't a suicide pact between her and Melody. All right, so she says she's probably in her workshop. He goes to her workshop, and she's all like, "Fuck off." He tells her about
she's in her work clothes because she's been hate welding.
He loves her in those work clothes.
Oh boy, does he ever.
And
so anyway, they clear up their misunderstanding.
Yeah, by getting
like,
it against a wall.
God.
Yeah.
And then there's excellent wall sex.
Yeah. She's like bruising her back against the like rough wall and she doesn't even care because like the harder he gives it to her, the harder she wants it. It's good stuff. It's real good stuff.
It's really good. And so then they put her back in her dress and go back to the party. And this is where everything gets tied up in a lovely little bow. Mm-hmm. Because there is his father has told him that he needs to bring her back because the father also has a Christmas present for her. And she shows up. They're about to go upstairs and she's confronted by his father and this incredibly important and famous art collector and gallery owner. And they have this really cute exchange. Although this was when I was like, Flash, you're a bit much.
Yeah.
Like, get your shit together.
Yeah.
Stop it. Stop biting the hand that fucking feeds you. Because every time this woman's like, I want to showcase your art, she's like, the connection is through my boyfriend. And so you didn't find me organically.
Yeah. You only like me because my boyfriend's dad liked it. And she did find her organically because the gallery that her art was in sent out photographs to all the other galleries And this woman saw the photographs, but by the time she managed to get around to looking at it, it was already sold. So then she went to Ian's dad's house to look at the art and decided to put it in her gallery. So there you go.
And can I just say, Miss Reisz, Tiffany, if you're listening,
she's not.
I would like to make a tiny request. If you have time, if you just want to percolate it, in your brain, and you want to just create maybe even just a short story starring this gallery owner as the heroine.
Oh yeah,
I would be so fucking into it. I can't. This woman does not suffer fools.
No.
It is delicious.
Yeah, Ian's dad is like, you want to have dinner? And she's like, maybe if you get elected to Congress.
Yeah. If you're no longer a state senator, you podunk fuck. I would like to read a book or a short story just based on her.
Yeah, agreed.
So, okay. Yeah, and then they live happily ever after, I'm assuming, and they have punk rock kids, and it's adorable. There's a really cute through line through this where she keeps on saying "made you look," and it makes me really happy. Just like their playful way with each other. I don't know if I would be into living in a chalet up in the mountains 30 miles away from everything else.
That's because you're fucking wrong. You are wrong.
Fair.
Says the woman thousands of miles away from you.
Okay, so once again, I thoroughly enjoyed this book.
Yes.
I liked that, especially for a brand like Harlequin Blaze, it did a little bit more, like the tiniest amount of kink play. This author is known for that in other works. So if you are into this like tiny bit of kink, check out her other stuff. I'm actually planning on reading it myself, and we'll probably feature it at some point on the podcast.
Yeah,
she has a new book out just this past week called Michael's Wings.
So we got emails about like, if you liked her Halloween treat, you'll love. So yeah, check out her other stuff. Oh, I have one more question for you.
Okay.
There's one more fuck, marry, kill I think we have to do since we did these three.
Oh.
So Chris,
the boys,
Eric, Ian, fuck, marry, kill.
Chris, Eric, Ian. Okay. I am going to fuck Ian, kill Chris, marry Eric. That's what I'm going to do.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
I'm going to marry Eric as well. But I'm going to fuck Chris and kill Ian, I think.
Ooh, you're into the little girl shit? Nah, man. Can't get there.
He wasn't into the little girl
there.
shit. He just said it one time.
Oh, I didn't like it. That is kill worthy for me. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Do you have a lady love? Do you have a lady love this week?
Okay, so my lady love is admittedly just as ridiculous as the rest of my being this week, and just in the cold in general. Can I tell you what I Googled today? Okay, so, all right, here's my lady love. Actually, it's a self-love, because I think that it's important for all genders to do this. It's cold, guys, in a lot of regions, and that means that you wear a lot of layers. And so my self-love recommendation for this week is let your parts air out as much as you can.
What the?
Mucous membranes need oxygen, and so
what are you?
I'm just saying. So here's here.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
So here's.
Is this followed by a story?
Yeah.
God, you weird woman. What? What?
Okay, it's not a story. It's just normally I don't sleep with very many clothes on because it's important for things to get air. And so the problem that I have in the winter time is that I'm so fucking cold that I want to wear 17 layers. But then you get, it's not good in your lady region or your man region probably either. And so when I Googled, okay, here's my second problem. I don't know how I'm going to edit this.
You're not. We're going straight through.
My second problem is that I don't like traditional pajama pants because I hate the feeling of the pants like riding up at night. It drives me fucking bonkers.
Riding up their pants? I don't understand.
No. Like when they've got the loose bottoms, there's nothing holding them to the bottom, like to your ankle.
Yeah.
And so I'll wake up in the middle of the night and they're just around my goddamn knee and they're all bunched and it's uncomfortable and I hate it. And so today, I can neither confirm nor deny that I Googled.
Don't worry.
Crotchless leggings.
No.
It turns out that most people wear crotchless things for sexy times. I am not one of those people. And so what I wanted was the perfect balance.
Why don't you just wear thigh-high socks, you weird person?
I have surprisingly thick thighs, and so they roll down. Like I'd have to wear a garter belt to bed, and that's not comfy. Anyway, moral of the story is, I think that mucous membranes need oxygen, and so I can neither confirm nor deny that I might be on a quest to make myself the perfect pair of sleep leggings for this winter. I have a sewing machine. I have the wherewithal.
You just need scissors. You just need, all you need is scissors.
Yeah, that's maybe. Yeah, all right.
All right, Mel. So
you know what?
Yeah.
Health of all sorts is incredibly important.
I mean, don't worry. No one's listening anymore. Like, our most devout listener, whoever she is, has been like, you know what? I'm done here. This is just for us now. So let's just chat about whatever.
Oh, no.
No, mine was, you brought it up at the beginning, though. I was just going to say, if there's something about you that you find to be, like, that bothers you. Like, no one cared that I didn't have eyebrows. No one even noticed that I didn't have eyebrows. But this is something that has been bothering me since I was in high school, where people did comment on my eyebrows. But no one does now that I'm in my 30s. It's not a thing. Everyone I know was just like, what now? Oh, I guess you don't, but it's not a big deal. But if you have something you want to fix that's just for you, go fix it. That's not a big, just do it. It's not going to hurt anybody. I've noticed that you're holding.
Like having leggings.
Stop it. I cannot believe.
Go fix it for yourself.
You're right. Yeah. Be enterprising.
It's the thing that bothers me.
Cut the crotch out of your leggings. Tattoo eyebrows on your face.
This went to a place, and listener, I'm only kind of sorry because I stand by every word I've said. But I understand if you don't know me well enough to have heard all of that.
Yeah.
And I can almost promise it won't happen again if you come back.
Please come back. All right. Keep being a badass and love yourself as much as you love being tied to bed feet.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
I love that.
All right. Well, bye, Mel. I hope that you're wearing pants and you were wearing pants this whole podcast because I didn't know.
I was.
Good.
I was.
Because I don't know now how much you want to air out.
I was wearing 2 pairs of pants.
Allegedly.
All of this podcast.
Now I feel like
I
don't know.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, you. Yes, listener, you. Are you loving the show? If so, please leave a rating and review in your podcast app. The 90 seconds you take to say something nice not only helps new people find the show, but it makes me super smile over at HBHQ. Also, I've had a few people ask, and the answer is yes. We are still doing the 5-star bribe. If you leave us a review with 5 stars, then we'll do whatever book you want. We're real deep into the list, though, so it might be a while. Lilas! Okay, back to the show.